Rise, Meg.
The Force will be with you.
Hello my dear friends and welcome back to my channel. I'm Star Wars Meg, here to give you all of the news from a galaxy far, far away and to provide you with a Mandalorian Season 3 update, keeping you in the know of any new developments. Before I dive into the news, I just want to say that Light of the Jedi, the High Republic first book, has been released today. I've pre-ordered my copy and I will be going through it on my Patreon page, so if you want to dive into the book with me and hear all of my thoughts and my analysis, please do check that out. Without any more jibber jabber, let's dive straight into the news. So we have some really exciting updates today, specifically to do with reports of The Mandalorian Season 3. So the first article we're going to look at claims that Bo-Katan Kryze will reportedly try to kill Mando in Season 3. The entire premise of The Mandalorian revolves around our intrepid hero going on various side quests and avoiding the multitude of enemies trying to kill him as he progresses closer to his ultimate goal. In the show's first run, that was to keep Baby Yoda out of harm's way, and that carried through right until the Season 2 finale, which saw Din's adopted son head off in the arms of Luke Skywalker. That now puts Mando in a completely different position that he's not found himself in since the very first episode, and will likely have to wait a little longer to see how he copes without Grogu, given that the Book of Boba Fett has jumped in front of the queue to become the next Disney Plus series on the calendar. One of the major driving forces behind Season 3 is expected to be the future of Mandalore, a planet that Clone Wars fans will be very familiar with, which is now expected to show up in live-action form for the very first time. With the title character now in possession of the Darksaber after defeating Moff Gideon in combat, handing over the Darksaber to Bo-Katan is not exactly the way it works. In fact, according to insider Daniel Richman, her desperation to claim the throne of Mandalore will see her try to kill Mando in order to get the weapon back. There's clearly going to be conflict between the two when the Mandalorian returns, with Bo-Katan looking suitably enraged that she'd come so close to her ultimate destination, only to see Mando get the job done completely by accident. So there you go, that's a really big rumour that Bo-Katan will actually try to kill Din Djarin. I don't think it's a surprise to too many people, but I know a lot of fans, myself included, didn't want the show's writers to have to take that route. I think it's also really exciting to know that we are going to see Mandalore in live action form for the very first time, and I think Season 3 will be very true to what the Mandalorian title stands for. I think Din will also try to round up other clans of Mandalorians, and we may even run into Sabine Wren as well. So we're going to come back to The Mandalorian Season 3 in a moment, but first of all I want to highlight an article that I read which talks about a really fascinating theory. The client from Season 1 sought to kill Grogu to keep him from Gideon. Although the client in Season 1 played the part of the primary antagonist at first, he turned out to be actually working for the even larger threat of Moff Gideon. Or so it seemed. A fan theory on Reddit posits that the client was actually working counter to Gideon's goals and that his efforts to kill Grogu prove as much. The mysterious client served as the impetus to much of the plot of the show's first season when he put out a significant bounty for the child through the Bounty Hunters Guild. What fans accepted without question at the time, which now seems curious, is that the client would push for a kill order against an asset his superior evidently wanted to preserve. The assassin droid IG-11 was set on killing the child, and the client himself appeared quite ready to dispatch little Grogu prior to Dr. Pershing entering the scene. It's also notable just how little Gideon seemed to appreciate the client's loyalty. Upon arriving on the scene himself during the finale's showdown, Gideon ordered his men to fire on the cantina housing both the client and Djarin, completely unconcerned for the fate of everyone involved. Gideon's actions proved unnecessarily harsh, and as Season 2 wore on, it became clear that he didn't want to execute Grogu. His nefarious ends remain a mystery, but the preservation of Grogu's life seemed to play a key part that the client acted contrary to in the season prior. It seems odd to give a kill order when Gideon's plans would be ruined by the execution of the child unless the client was actually working against him. As the theory mentions, the client does make a curious mention of returning Beskar to its rightful owners as he pays Djarin with the valuable Mandalorian metal. The theory certainly holds some water, and given how seldom the client came up in the second season, it would be perfect as a setup for a blindside reveal later on. Fans certainly adored Herzog's performance enough that seeing any more of his acting chops in the role would be a welcome treat. So what do you guys think of this theory? Does it hold any water? Would you like to see the client again potentially in Season 3? So now we have some more big news, and this one is about George Lucas, who reportedly will be more heavily involved in The Mandalorian's 3rd season. So the article states, ever since selling Lucasfilm to Disney back in 2012 and making himself $4 billion richer in the process, George Lucas has somewhat ironically become a wizened sage in the mold of Yoda to the continued expansion of the Star Wars universe. He isn't involved in any sort of official capacity or either on a creative level, but he frequently drops by on the set of The Mandalorian to see how things are going and to offer expertise and advice to Dave Filoni. Of course, Lucas wanted to direct a sequel trilogy of his own before handing his baby over to the Mouse House, and there's every chance he's been getting the itch to take a more hands-on role in the franchise he created. In fact, one insider is now claiming that the 76-year-old will be more heavily involved in The Mandalorian Season 3, although no further details are provided. You couldn't rule out him directing an entire episode for old time's sakes, given the revolving door of big names that have previously tackled the show, including Robert Rodriguez, Peyton Reed, Taika Waititi, and Favreau himself. There were actually reports before the Season 2 finale that George Lucas himself could be very involved in that, and I'm pretty sure he did have quite a huge hand to play in terms of advice that he gave to Dave Filoni, Peyton Reed, and Jon Favreau in how to bring back Luke Skywalker. I know the fans have had such a mixed reaction to George Lucas's writing skills in the past. For example, with the prequels, a lot of people said that the dialogue was a bit shoddy, so it really depends on how they do it. What do you guys think? Would you like to see George Lucas fill the books as a director for one of the episodes of Season 3? Do you think he should be more heavily involved? I absolutely do, but I love the way that Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau have visualized The Mandalorian, and obviously we can see the raging success it's had, and Lucasfilm have slowly but surely rebuilt the trust of fans in so many ways. So that is all of the news I have for you guys today. I really hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please give me a big fat like, subscribe to my channel if you're new, and like I said at the beginning, now that the High Republic is up, please be sure to check out my Patreon page where I will be covering it, giving you my analysis and so on and so forth. For just $2 or $10 a month, you can help to support the channel, and you get exclusive access to my Megasodes, which is my podcast, as well as Star Wars Explained videos and other exclusive series that I've started. I'm Star Wars Meg, wishing you a phenomenal rest of the day, no matter where you all dwell in the galaxy. Have a good one.